Welcome to The Explainer. We live in a world that's just obsessed with speed, right? Always faster, always more. But today, we're going to explore a kind of superpower that's the complete opposite: stillness. Now, it might sound a little passive, but as we're about to see, it could actually be the key to gaining clarity, building resilience, and getting a real strategic advantage in your life. Okay, so let's just start with a feeling I bet you know really, really well. It's that sensation of being on a treadmill. You're running, you're putting in the effort, but you're not actually getting any closer to where you want to go. And look, this isn't just you imagining things. Research actually shows that the world we live in is practically designed to break our focus. Our ability to just sit down and concentrate is being chipped away little by this constant flood of interruptions. And when you look at the actual numbers, they're kind of staggering. Get this. On average, our focus gets broken every 11 minutes. But here's the real kicker. It can take us up to 25 minutes just to get back to that same level of deep concentration we had before that one little ping, that one little notification. I mean, just do the math on that for a second. We're not even standing still. We're actively falling behind with every single interruption. It's this crazy loop where we're moving faster and faster, but ironically making almost zero real progress. So, if that's the problem, what's the solution? Where do we even look for an answer? Well, it turns out the answer might come from a pretty unexpected place: a world-famous poet and musician who decided to just walk away from all of it. Okay, just think about Leonard Cohen for a second. This guy had everything: global fame, money, critical acclaim, and yet he traded all of that in for the quiet, simple life of a monastery. He even took on a new name, G. Khan, which literally means the silence. And we're not talking about a weekend retreat here. He spent years committed to this new life of chores and meditation, serving his Zen master. He dove into this simplicity with the same intense dedication he once put into writing his legendary songs. And this is what I find so fascinating. After experiencing literally everything the world has to offer, what does he call this practice of sitting still? Entertainment. Can you believe that? Not a chore, not a duty, but the most deeply engaging and fulfilling thing he'd ever found. And this is really the key point, right? Cohen wasn't running away from the world. He was running towards a way to quiet the noise in his own head. For him, this was just the most practical way to cut through his own confusion and finally truly start living. So, what Cohen's story really points to is this concept that's not a place you go to on a map, but more of an inner state of being. The source material has a great name for it: the realm of stillness. So, what is this realm? Well, imagine an inner world so huge it's described as being bigger than whole countries. It's not about booking a flight to see the world. It's about taking a journey to explore the entire universe that's already inside of you. And this is such a critical point to understand. Stillness isn't about ignoring the world or hiding from it. It's about creating just enough distance so you can finally see it clearly. It's kind of like stepping back from a really chaotic painting. It's only when you step back that you can see the whole beautiful picture. At the end of the day, it all comes down to mastering our own internal response to things. Think about it. A big storm hits. For one person, it's a total catastrophe. For another, it's a chance to rebuild and start fresh. The storm is the same. The only thing that's different is their mindset. Our mind is the filter for our entire reality. Okay, so right now you might be thinking, all right, that's cool for artists and monks, but what about the rest of us in the real world? Well, what's so fascinating is that some of the biggest advocates for stillness are people working in the most intense, high-pressure environments you can imagine. Yeah, believe it or not, the very people who are engineering our fast-paced world are also the ones trying to figure out how to slow down. From Silicon Valley engineers to U.S. Marine snipers, leaders everywhere are realizing that stillness is a huge advantage for clear thinking and making better decisions under pressure. And it's not just a feeling, there's actual hard data to back this up. Take a program at the insurance giant Aetna. They found that just 1 hour of yoga and meditation a week slashed employee stress by a third. It's not just good for people, it's good for the bottom line. But if you want to see the real life or death power of stillness, we have to go from the corporate office straight to a battlefield. Picture the scene for a second. There's chaos, unimaginable pain, and just overwhelming fear. The normal human reaction, the instinct, is to panic. But this Marine, he had something else. He'd been trained for this. He used a technique called tactical breathing to find a single moment of calm in the storm. And in that one quiet moment, he was able to think clearly, apply his own tourniquets, and calmly direct the entire rescue effort. I mean, think about what that means. In the middle of absolute chaos, his most powerful weapon wasn't a gun or a piece of equipment. It was his trained ability to find a quiet, clear space inside his own mind. So those examples are obviously pretty extreme, right? But you don't have to be a monk or a soldier to get the benefits of this. The real trick is learning how to weave these small moments of stillness into the fabric of our own busy everyday lives. So where do you even start? Well, the good news is you don't have to pack your bags for a monastery. The first steps are way simpler and easier than you'd probably think. Let's talk about 3 really practical ways you can start. First up, create what's called a time Sabbath. This isn't a place, it's just a chunk of protected time. Maybe it's an hour every Sunday where you are completely offline. No screens, no email. Second, reframe how you think about travel. That next long flight isn't a chore. It's a forced retreat. Don't just fill it with movies. Try doing nothing. Just be. And finally, the easiest one of all, just sit still for a few minutes every day. No phone, no music. Just sit and notice what's going on in your own head. And that really brings us to the core idea, the big paradox of it all. In a world that is completely obsessed with speed, maybe the most powerful way to get ahead is to slow down. In a world of endless distraction, maybe real focus is the new luxury. And in an age of constant, frantic movement, maybe the most revolutionary thing you can do is just learn how to be still.